New arrivals meet Vanamali are cows in Vrindavan. Cows in the new Sunita update June 2008. Vishvambara born to Siddha. Care for cows in Vrindavan. Care for cows in Vrindavan. CFC trustees Vraja Mohan Dasa, Hayavalabha Dasa, Amit Tulani, Rakesh Rahira. Patrons Radha Jivan Dasa, Suresh Vajiani. CFC staff Kurmarupa Dasa, Nanda Kaiser Dasa, Syam Gauri Dasi, Braja Gopal Dasa, Switzerland, Laxmi Rupa Dasi, Denmark, Isani Devi Dasi, Holland, Dr. J.P. Lavanya Satyadeva Singh Radha Karan Dasa, Krishnamai I Dasi, Syam Hari Vijay, Ramu, Ramakisan, Mithan newsletter editors Kurmarupa Dasa, Syam Gauri Dasi. Care for cows in Vrindavana is inspired by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Dear friends, a young Brahmana student sat sideways on the back of a bicycle pedaled by an attendant. They stopped at the gate, dismounted and looked into the compound, obviously searching for someone they knew. I approached politely to see if I could help, but they looked past me as if I was not there. "Who are you looking for?" I asked quietly. "Is that her?" the student asked the attendant, who replied in the negative, and then looking over my shoulder said, "Our cow is missing and we thought she might be here." They wouldn't ask directly if we had taken in their cow, as they assumed I would lie, so they just kept studying the barnyard, ignoring me. This week we've taken in 4 calves, but no adult cows. I offered to ears, determined not to believe anything I said. "Are you from Sundrak?" I asked. The boy shook his head and announced, "We are from Shuddha Bhakti Ashrama. We have a black cow who supplies milk for our daily worship. She didn't return last night from her daily wandering in the street, so we're looking for her." The rude truth: those who practice Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotion, do not allow their sacred cows to wander in the streets eating garbage with the dogs and hogs. Jaya Sri Guru. Jaya Sri Gopala. Jaya Sri Gomata. The CFC's TAFCA-ReferCows.org. Care for Cows in Vrindavan is a charitable trust registered in India, USA, Holland, and Switzerland. Meet Vanamali. Vanamali, upon arrival, health restored. Vanamali's first son Samba, her second son Sravana. A young farmer brought his emaciated cow and bull calf to the gate, asking us to take them in. His farm had failed and he was forced to move to Delhi to work in a factory. They were a sad-looking pair. I asked him the cow's name and he replied that she didn't have one. I took the rope from his hand and he left in relief. They were starving and the only thing that saved them was their voracious appetite. We named them Vanamali and Samba and they recovered their health quickly. She had arrived pregnant and in due course gave birth to another bull. She had become very strong and assertive, and only after determined effort would she allow us to milk her. Vanamali took a liking to the herd leader Krishna, the Padayatra ox, and had a strikingly calming affect on him. She followed him like a shadow with Krishna. Vanamali's daughter Ekadasi. Ekadasi still nursing at 17 months old. Vanamali and Ekadasi today for more than 2 years, until Krishna left his body on Makara Sankranti of this year. After bearing 2 bull calves, Vanamali gave birth to Ekadasi in November 2006 and is still very protective of her. This time she was determined not to let the cowherd men milk her and became furious whenever they tried. After a week of struggle we gave up, and consequently Ekadasi has become the healthiest calf we have to date, as her mother awarded her the privilege of having as much milk as she wants. Today, at 17 months old and approaching the same size as her mother, she is still nursing. Ekadasi with Krishna during his last months on Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day, Vrindarika Dasi approached me in the Zurich temple asking me to come and have a look at the wonderful pictures of some Vrindavan cows. So I went with her to the guest room beside the temple room, where there was a pile of pictures lying on a table. Enthusiastically she showed me one of the pictures amongst many. "Just look, I am also sponsoring one cow there, Makankar, a bull." They were all rejected cows who were hurt, and suffered very much, and the devotees from Care for Cows took special care of them. She introduced me to Ricky, who was sitting next to the pile of photos. When I saw him I remembered that we had once met before on the way to Vrindavan. But at that time we hadn't any idea what he is doing. I only knew that he supported some Goshala in Vrindavan. At that time we had no plan to investigate the Goshala as we already had many places we wanted to visit during the few days we would be in Vrindavan. Anyway, now 2 years later we met again in Zurich temple. I know him as a quiet devotee, not much making a show of what he is doing. By Rohini Sudha Dasa and Gaurn Gapriya Dasi I looked at the pictures and first of all I was impressed with the professional quality and nice images of different cows and bulls. They all looked so extraordinarily beautiful and immediately reminded me of Krishna. That's how the cows of Krishna and Balarama must look like. I thought. I could take my she was so impressed that she thought she would ask Balakrishna Prabhu, an artist, to do a painting depicting such cows. So the next day she went on the internet and searched cows and Vrindavan, and immediately found a website named Care for Cows. We were both impressed very much. It was the first time that we saw that something like that is going on in Vrindavan. Immediately we were inspired to sponsor one cow we choose Narmada, who had been attacked by dogs. Since Gaurn Gapriya is very much afraid of dogs, she could relate to the plight of Narmada who was attacked and bitten by a pack of dogs. So, we decided to sponsor her. Eyes off the photos spread out on the table and looked through the whole pile of them. I then thought to call my wife Gaurn Gapriya who was among the crowd in the temple room. I knew she especially likes cows and deer. Whenever we passed by a Goshala on the Parikrama path in Vrindavan she stopped and wanted to feed the cows. So I told her, come here. There is a surprise for you. She also immediately remembered Ricky and enthusiastically looked at his pictures. I left her alone there because I had to go to give the lecture with Paramgati Maharaja together. When I returned she was still there, her eyes beaming. Look, I took 5 pictures, these cows are so sweet and wonderful. After that, we watched the video clips of the Vrindavan cows 5 short movies on the website. First we were impressed about the activities of the joyful cows there. But when we saw how they looked before and learned about the suffering they Narmada had to go through, we were shocked. The next day, our neighbor devotee, Samath Kanta Dasi, came to visit and we told her about our new experience with Care for Cows. When she saw the website, she immediately said, I want also to sponsor one, let me see. She chose Vinodai Lal. Samath Kanta too was very happy and impressed that such a project exists in Vrindavan organized by devotees. We all thought, Krishna must be very pleased with the seva to cows and Vrindavan. As we showed the movies to some other devotees, everyone was very much touched and inspired. A few of them together, Balakrishna Dasa, Govindananda Dasa, Mayapurkandra Dasa, and Mahananda Dasa, also decided to sponsor one, so they were assigned Neela Madhava, a young bull. Vinodai Lal Samath Kanta Dasi Balakrishna Dasa Neela Madhava. Before the Gaura Purnima festival, our dear friends from Moscow, Radhikaprasad Dasi and Ananda Vrindavan Dasa went to Vrindavan. We asked them to visit Narmada and Vinodai Lal. At that time we still didn't know about Neela Madhava, he came later. They went to Care for Cows 2 days before their departure from Vrindavan. The last day Radhikaprasad called us from Vrindavan to tell about her impressions. She was very much touched by the Care for Cows project. She said, it's a pity that we didn't go there earlier. Had I known it was so nice, I would have gone there every day. She told us that they met Shyam Gauri Dasi who was very kind and let them brush Vinodai Lal for more than half an hour. Narmada was a little bit and kept her distance. They also told us about Radhika, an antelope locally known as Nilgai, who received them at the entrance of the Goshala and accompanied them as they visited the other cows. Before our tour of Russia began, Gaurn Gapriya asked Ricky if he could send some pictures so that we could distribute them there at the different places we visit. Everywhere we showed the pictures the devotees were very eager to take not only 1, but 3 or 5. The sweetest incident took place in Perm, in the Ural region of Russia. We always within family of devotees who have 3 sons. While showing them the photos they each decided to pick out a favorite. One boy is 11 years old, the other 9 and the youngest 5. They were completely captured by the photos. Usually it is not so easy to impress these kids, because they have all possible toys which one can Radhika Prasad Dasi and Ananda Vrindavan Dasa Radhika the antelope, Nilgai, Rohini Sudha Dasa and Gaurn Gapri Dasi imagine. But by looking at the cow photos, their eyes were completely shining. The oldest one immediately saw one photo of 3 cows swimming in the Yamuna and said, "This one I will take." 3 cows. 3 brothers. They looked intently at the other pictures, and when they came to the photo of the bull Nandi, all 3 looked at each other and started to laugh loudly and almost simultaneously said, "That's our daddy." I was wondering, why all 3 in the same moment came to this conclusion, and I also studied the photo. The bull's face was wrinkled and somehow he really had the same expression as their father. Now the 9-year-old son, who is known as the most sensitive of the 3, was about to choose. As it was to be expected, he chose a white calf sleeping on the side of his mother. Then the youngest boy looked at all of us and said, "And I will take daddy," meaning the photo of Nandi. They immediately went to Nandi cows swimming in the Yamuna Sravana, their room, to hang the photos on the walls above their desktop and bed. The mother told them to wait until she bought frames, as the photos are too nice to be hung up just like that, but the boys could not wait. Those of us who recently heard about Care for Cows are really impressed and are happy that we can somehow take part in this project. We offer again and again our obeisances to all the devotees who are doing such a wonderful service in Vrindavandam and who give also to all others the possibility to take part in it. Thank you very much for it. A few days before going to Vrindavan this year, Gaurn Gapri Yadasi and our spiritual master Rohini Sudha Prabhu told us that they had sponsored 1 cow in the Care for Cows project and sent us a link to their website, careforcows.org. I should admit that I naturally like cows, but from distance. I like to look at them on the streets of Vrindavan and admire their beauty, but I always had some hesitation to come closer. I grew up in the city and didn't have an inclination to have close contact with animals. So, when we were asked to visit the Goshala, I was positive, but not emotionally involved thinking about the visit. Because of that, we didn't go to Care for Cows during the first 10 days we stayed in Vrindavan. Then when we decided to go, we obviously chose not such a good time. Radhika Prasad Dasi and Ananda Vrindavan Dasa visit Care for Cows about 2 o'clock, when the sun was burning. The gate was closed and there were only 2 Indian men working there. The rickshawwalas inspired us to open the gate and to enter. Just after one came in, a beautiful harmonious blue cow appeared. As we learned later, her name was Radhika, the queen and the head manager of Goshala. Cows are living in this Goshala, how well groomed they are. It was a very peaceful and nice place. The cows took their midday rest. We could easily find Narmada, because of her unique airs, but didn't recognize Vinodai Lal. So we decided to come earlier the next day. I am very happy that we didn't find Vinodai Lal at first and that we visited a second time. After our second visit, we decided to include Care for Cows as one of the regular places we visit each time we come to Vrindavan and on which we meditate while out of Vrindavan. So the next day we arrived around 10:30 am and were warmly greeted by Shyam Gauri Mataji. We explained that we would like to see Narmada and Vinodai Lal and take a few photos of them for our friends who sponsor them. Mataji brought us to Vinodai Lal, who was in a pen hosting cows that required special care since his legs were unfortunately broken and he couldn't stand. We were very surprised how different these cows were, as they feel loved and cared for by the devotees. They are not frightened at all and are very sweet and trusting. Shyam Gauri told us that when some cows arrive, because of bad experiences, they don't allow anyone to come near them, but with time they change and become very sweet. She gave us a brush and told us that cows like very much to. She came very near to us and followed us as we explored the Goshala in hopes of finding Narmada and Vinodai Lal, cows, who are sponsored by Gaurn Gapriya and Samat Kantha. We could see how well the Radhika be brushed. It was a unique experience to brush Vinodai Lal, and I think I enjoyed it more than him. I could now imagine why Krishna likes cows so much. It was unforgettable exchange of warmth. We also met Laxmi Rupa Mataji from Denmark, who volunteers her time 3 or 4 months each year to help care for cows. She massages those cows who cannot move and helps change their positions every 3 hours. I regret that we didn't visit Care for Cows from the beginning of our visit and didn't spend more time there. We hope the next time Krishna mercifully allows us to visit the Holidom, we will be daily visitors at Care for Cows and get to serve Krishna's wonderful pets. Vinodai Lal recuperating from 3 broken legs. His name is Chili and he's described as a gentle giant. The bullock stands at 6 feet 6 inches. And weighs well over a ton. Tara Nirula is pictured by his side. Despite his grand stature, Chili only grazes on grass and enjoys the occasional sweet as a treat. The heifer lives at the Fern Animal Sanctuary in Chard, Somerset. He was left on their doorstep at 6 days old. 9 years on, Chili has kept on growing, and THR staff believe the giant will smash a record for Britain's tallest cow ever. We have made an application to Guinness Book of Records and we are quite confident he will get it. Naomi Clark, manager at the sanctuary, said, "He dwarfs most horses, is the same height as a small elephant and casts a shadow over his cattle companions who are about 5 feet in height." When he failed to fit in a standard cattle cage to have his hooves clipped, they realized just how big he had grown compared to normal bullocks. Miss Clark said, people would always comment on how much bigger he was from the other cows and bulls when they visited the sanctuary. He does weigh over a ton but is quite lean and not as fat as some of his companions. She continued, "We don't know what has made him so tall. He doesn't eat that much and his feet and head are in proportion, he is just very large. He is a very friendly and gentle cow, so we hope he manages to break the record, he deserves it." At present, the tallest bovine in the world is 6 feet 8 inches. Fiorino, who lives in Italy. A spokeswoman for the Guinness Book of Records said, "I can confirm that an application has been received for Chili, which is currently under research." 6 months ago another bullock vying for a record-breaking spot was the Field Marshal, who weighed in at 3,000 pounds. At the time he was on course to overtake the current British record holder, his former stablemate the Colonel, who stood 6 feet 5 inches tall and weighed 3,500 pounds. He died in 2005. April 7, New Zealand Herald, a cow in India has amazed dairy farmers by releasing milk completely unaided. No one knows of any scientific reason for this. All the other cows on the farm in India's Dahod district receive the same food, but Radha proudly proves she can fill a bucket unaided. Farm worker Manoj Bhargav says, whenever Radha is fed she starts milking the same moment. She delivers approximately 8 liters of milk each day. I have never witnessed such a miracle. Radha has been named after the Hindu goddess of the same name. Her Muslim owner hopes this will strengthen the bond between the two communities. The cow is worshipped in almost all parts of India, this one is utterly amazing. P. Around the Gosh Alakiran sheds his antlers, can his health restored are blind and gentle. Suradasi nourishes 3 calves. J. Kaiser delivers hay by camel cart. Feeling the need to establish himself as one of the leaders in the herd, Janardana is challenging several other residents. His sharp horns have been capped with brass tips to render them less dangerous. One afternoon he insisted in matching strength with several contestants and many spectators gathered at the gate to watch him tangle with Nirmal. Although Janardana is very determined to win the contests, he does not exhibit anger. His intention is not to injure but only to establish himself as stronger. Today he is 20 months old and very healthy. His personality is quite different from his female counterpart Radhika, who is more gentle and peaceful. Janardana sports his new horn ornaments. New arrivals Madhurya Lila Raghunath Vishvambara. Madhurya Lila was abandoned and was milling around the way station among the several carts of fodder and grass trying to find something to eat. One of our cowherd men was purchasing fodder when he saw her there, gaunt and weak with her rear end plastered with diarrhea. While he was bargaining with a seller, she approached him and tried to nurse from his fingers. He bought a cart of fodder and brought the calf back to CFC. Raghunath was abandoned in the vicinity of CFC and wandered in the gate looking for something to eat. He is skinny and weak but has a good appetite and is promising to get healthy. Vishvambara was born to Siddha this month and is happy and healthy. He has been sponsored by Bhaktivinoda and Sri Radhika from Mumbai. He is gentle and his coat is rust-colored with white markings. Chakra is a gentle bull who was abandoned in the vicinity of the fruit and vegetable market. One of the cowherd men was purchasing bananas to feed the herd a feast and the salesman asked him to take the bull as he frequently stole bananas from his shop. He is healthy and well behaved. Chakra was brought here by a local man saying that he had been wandering in his village for months and was constantly breaking into the wheat fields and eating their crops. He is about 1 year old and has been branded with a circular mark on his hip. He has similar facial markings as Raghunath. Chitralekha is quite healthy but timid and shy. Her owner is from a local village and brought her here after her mother stopped giving milk. She is traumatized by the abrupt change but is getting adjusted. Chitralekha Sunita update: almost 3 months ago Sunita was sent to us from Radhakund with her leg so severely fractured that Dr. Lavanya said it could be removed with a pair of scissors. Initially her wound was treated every day and now every other day and there is stark improvement. Fortunately, Sunita is a very cooperative patient and has a good appetite, so there is every chance that the fracture will form into a false joint so the limb will be able to bear some of her weight. She has been sponsored by Jay and Manjula Shah of the Jain community who have a dear friend named Sunita Haria who has been hospitalized for several months. Since this cow is making such remarkable recovery, they have sponsored her in honor of their friend with the great hope she will also recover promptly. Though the Shahs frequent Delhi, South India, and abroad, they have visited us twice and we are honored to have the blessings of such kind and compassionate people. Thank you from the cows. May cows stay in front of me, may cows stay behind me, may cows stay on both sides of me. May I always reside in the midst of cows. Hari Bhaktivilas 16.252. The cows send their heartfelt thanks to those who assisted during May 2008. Alessandra Petrassi, Ananda Dasa, Anonymous, Kandramukha Dasi, David Kazanau, David Thornton, Dina Sarana Dasa, Eka Gopi Dasi, Elizabeth Stewart, Gaurn Gapriya Dasi, Girish Sivakumar, Hemant Ramana, Julia Erdem, Iskan Ministry of Educational Development, Jagannath Dasa, Jay Shah, Kamadanu Dasi, Kamalasana Dasa, Kamalini Dasi, Katyayani Dasi, Krishnamai I Dasi, Christoph Halyabiki Kunti Devi Dasi, Madhava Dasa, Madhu Kiran Rami Reddy, Mahani Hai Swami, Manjula Shah, Purnamasi Dasi, Radha Karan Dasa, Radha Jivan Dasa, Radha Mohan Savak, Radha Patti Dasa, Ryan Ko and JB Hari Rohini Sudha Dasa, Samath Kanta Dasi, Sanjay Prabhu Sarla Thakur Sarva Sakti Dasi, Surendra Shah TK Chidri Varun Janeja Vidyasagar Lakand Vishvambara Priya Dasi, Vivek Taneja Vraja Mohan Dasa, Vyasapad Dasa, Vyasadev Kame Unitas.